From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
And good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce, and this is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, a seat at the table dealing with government purse strings, how one Nevada leader's committee assignments give him some say and sway over the federal budget and annual appropriations, and he is my guest today, Nevada U.S. Congressman Stephen Horsford. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you, Marilee. Appreciate it.
These two committees are at the center of this Congress's effort to reduce out-of-pocket health care costs and craft a federal budget that puts government back in the side of the people. That's what my guest, the congressman, said upon his appointments to two of the most powerful committees on Capitol Hill. And today on Eye on Washington, we'll learn about his House Ways and Means and House Budget committees and how they affect some big things Nevadans care about. We'll find out why the congressman believes these posts are important to his achieving priorities he ran on, and later in the show, his third committee and how it helps him help Nevada's and this nation's environment. Well, it has been a while since a Nevadan has sat on Ways and Means, 7 years to be exact, back when former House member Shelley Berkeley was a member. The Committee on Ways and Means is the oldest committee in the United States Congress. It first was established as a select committee in 1789, formerly listed as a standing committee in 1802. The U.S. Constitution requires that all bills regarding taxation must originate in the House of Representatives, and Ways and Means, the chief writing committee, tax writing committee. The committee has jurisdiction over all taxation, tariffs, and other revenue-raising measures, as well as a number of other programs, including Social Security, unemployment insurance, Medicare, enforcement of child support laws, temporary assistance for needy families, and foster care adoption programs. On the committee, the congressman will serve on the Health Subcommittee, which handles legislation and oversight related to Medicare. And Congressman, you are newly elected, but of course I am welcoming you back to Eye on Washington. Welcome. I want to talk about Ways and Means in general, but I actually want to begin with the subcommittee. I know you were thrilled to be named to it. We got nearly 500,000 Nevadans on Medicare. Is that correct?
It is, and the issue is this committee, as you indicated, has broad jurisdiction over Medicare, Medicaid, the oversight of the Affordable Care Act, insurance broadly, so insurance coverage. These are all issues that directly impact Nevadans each and every day, and it's a committee that will allow me to fight on behalf of Nevadans who desperately need the government to work for them and to deliver for them.
Is Ways and Means a committee you lobbied for? I want to know how'd you get on it? Did your prior service help you as far as getting considered for it, having that prior experience as a congressman?
Well, it didn't hurt at all to have the prior service, and I did get my seniority back as a prior service for serving for 2 years. But I worked very closely with our delegation, Congresswoman Dina Titus, who is the delegation rep for our region, as well as Congressman Jim Clyburn and the leadership, Speaker Pelosi and Majority Leader Hoyer, all of whom saw the value of what I could bring to this committee, both from the healthcare aspects, but also making sure that we're fighting for everyday middle-class Americans. You
know, when you spend a lot of time on the Hill, in your case legislating and mine reporting, you hear a lot about the importance of Ways and Means. But for our audience on the other side of the country, please explain what this assignment means as far as a Nevada leader having some say over, say, taxation and those other major programs that I mentioned.
Well, as you indicated, Nevada has historically had a voice on Ways and Means. Former Congresswoman Shelley Berkeley was the last member to serve. So I'm very proud to have this opportunity. It's important for our number one industry, the gaming industry, who has unique needs to have a voice on this committee. It's important that we have someone who understands the challenges that people who are on Social Security and Medicare face. because of the unique needs that this committee addresses. This is the Article 1 committee under the Constitution, which means that no other committee has jurisdiction to be able to write tax policy.
Right.
And after the big GOP tax giveaway to big corporations and billionaires last Congress, it's time that we focus on middle-class families, entrepreneurs, people who have small businesses and are growing small businesses, and that's the perspective that I will bring to this committee.
You mentioned the subcommittee you serve on, the health subcommittee, that has some oversight over the Affordable Care Act. I remember reading several of your releases around the time that you ran, and since coming to the Hill, that was a big deal to you, that it affected the reconsideration and the...
Well, it does. You know, we have over 300,000 Nevadans with pre-existing conditions. Mm-hmm. And one of the areas that I ran on was protecting coverage for pre-existing conditions, people who have heart disease, diabetes, cancer, asthma, ensuring that we protect their coverage under the Affordable Care Act. One of the central issues that I'm working on is prescription affordability to bring down the cost.
You know, we are out of time for this segment, but I do want to bring up that I guess Nevadans will want to know where this assignment could go. I was doing some research. The roster of committee members who have gone on to serve in higher office is impressive. We have 8 presidents and 8 vice presidents have served on Ways and Means, as have 21 speakers of the House, 4 justices of the Supreme Court. I guess I'll say I knew you win. When we return, are your tax dollars being spent in a way that best serves you? Well, that's what he wants to know, and now he has a voice in the matter. We're going to have details next.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, the Las Vegas Sands Corporation, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, NV Energy, Jim Marsh Automotive and Body Shop, the Rogich Communications Group, and Renown Health.
I have 3 tests next week. I'm going to be studying all weekend. Ugh. Are you studying tonight? We can meet up and study together. Oh yeah, that sounds good. What time? I work until 6. Okay, sounds good. Just text me after. Okay. No!
There is no text, tweet, or call that's worth a life.
One pedestrian death is one too many.
Look up.
And look out for each other.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
I got my own iPod Touch and used my dad's login to get on gambling sites. Poker is the best, but I'm losing a lot. Since I'm too young to play, they're not allowed to keep the money, and my dad won't find out. That's right, isn't it?
Every parent thinks about health, safety, and quality when choosing a childcare facility. For the well-being of our littlest citizens, Nevada Childcare Licensing Inspectors make sure facilities comply with state laws and regulations that promote healthy growth and protection of children. Childcare licensing also supports families by regulating high-quality, developmentally appropriate, and flexible care through a wide range of options. Look for the State of Nevada license displayed on your childcare facility's wall. For more information, visit dpbh.nv.gov.
You've served our country and made us proud. Many of you have come home, continue to lead, and look out for one another. So it's important we all learn the 5 signs of emotional suffering. If you or someone you know is experiencing one or more of these signs, reach out, connect, offer to help.
Hey, what's the matter?
In or out of uniform, we can help our families and nation stay strong. Visit changedirection.org.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our look at what one congressman's committee assignments and why he says serving on them helps him to achieve some important goals beneficial to you in Nevada. He is my guest today, of course, Nevada U.S. Congressman Stephen Horsford. Well, a week after Congressman Horsford was appointed to the House Ways and Means Committee, that panel said that he would be on one of just 5 committee members to also serve on the House Budget Committee. The Budget Committee is the chief legislative panel conducting oversight of the federal budget process. Its chief responsibility is to draft an annual congressional budget resolution which directs Congress on how the federal government invests tax dollars. This resolution sets the aggregate levels of revenue and spending that is expected to occur in a given fiscal year. A budget resolution by law must be enacted by Congress by April 15th, but this target date, as many of you know, is rarely met. Congressman, without getting too deep in the weeds, can you help my audience understand what is a concurrent budget resolution and what's a continuing budget resolution? They hear these terms back home, but it gets confusing.
Well, continuing resolutions are bad because that's this short-term stopgap funding that has resulted in us having these government shutdowns whenever there hasn't been agreement, like we just saw with the 35-day government shutdown, which ended up costing $9 billion in lost economic activity, directly impacting Nevadans, over 52,000 Nevadans who were faced with not having their paycheck on time. The Budget Committee and the process that we're moving towards is regular order, where we will have a budget resolution that will guarantee predictability in the federal budgeting process going forward.
What is your focus as far as helping to draft that annual congressional budget resolution, both in a timely and a fiscally responsible manner?
Well, look, we have a lot of challenges facing the federal budget. And what we've started to do is expose the challenges with this GOP tax bill that was passed, which is creating additional deficit, $1.5 trillion of additional deficit at the federal level. We have to balance that based on the priorities, but what we cannot do is balance the budget on the backs of working people, seniors, veterans, or the poor.
You know, upon learning you'd be on both Ways and Means and the Budget Committee, you said serving thereon would help you deliver on some campaign promises, particularly, you said, lowering prescription drug and general health care costs, and you said, quote, and leveling the playing field for middle-class families. What did you mean by that latter promise?
So, for example, in the GOP tax plan that was passed, the tax breaks for billionaires and big corporations is permanent, while the tax cut for entrepreneurs and small business is temporary, and it sunsets in 2025, which means there's no predictability for the small business owner in Nevada. There's no predictability for the person who wants to start and grow their own small business. So why are we giving big tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and not leveling the playing field for entrepreneurs who want to start and grow their business? On top of that, many of the individuals ended up getting one-time bonuses or reductions in their taxes for one time, whereas the tax breaks for wealthy individuals is in perpetuity.
Yeah, quickly, what are you planning to do to help bring about those lower drug costs that you've spoken about? You know, out of pocket prescription bills, that is one of the biggest gripes among Nevadans.
It's huge. And what we're doing is we are going to force these pharmaceutical companies to be transparent about their prices and how they go about setting the prices. We want to allow Medicare to be able to negotiate directly for lower cost. And we want to bring the pharmaceutical companies to the table to force them to negotiate on behalf of the American public.
Okay, and as we end this segment, I do need to say, on to bigger things again, maybe. Several high-profile former Budget Committee members include Director of Office Management and Budget, Leo Panetta. And when we return, as if trying to protect your tax dollars isn't enough work, he's also on the committee tasked with protecting your natural parks and national parks, natural resources, and tribal communities. Let's learn about it after this.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, the only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
When you think RTC, what comes to mind? How about jobs? RTC road projects bring thousands of jobs to Washoe County, expanding and connecting northern Nevada, growing our local economy, providing a more secure future for our residents and their families. So when you think jobs, think RTC, your RTC, the RTC of Washoe County.
If you have a past felony conviction, you may be eligible to regain your right to vote. In Nevada, once you have completed your sentence, you have the right to restore your voting rights. To begin this process, or if you have any questions, call Restore Your Vote at 702-800-0779. That's 702-800-0779. Or email Aaron at restoreyourvote.org for free assistance. Let your voice be heard. Restore your vote.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Even when you prepare, life doesn't always go as planned. Today, 1 in 7 seniors live in poverty. To learn how you can help, visit aarpfoundation.org.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of how my guest committee assignments benefit you in Nevada. We've been visiting with Nevada U.S. Congressman Stephen Horsford. So let's put the budget process away and head out to the great outdoors, shall we? Because in addition to Ways and Means and the budget committees, my guest has been appointed to the House Natural Resources Committee, which considers legislation on and oversees federal efforts related to conservation, national parks and public lands, Indian and Alaskan Native affairs, and species conservation. And while we, of course, think of the environment when considering all this that the committee deals with, my guest says he also focuses on another of its big impacts, telling the press upon his appointment, quote, "I understand the benefits of public lands provide to our small businesses and tourism economy." Congressman, I want to start with that, the tie between a healthy tourist economy and a well-protected and maintained parks and resources, and the big benefits provided to small businesses through public land swaps.
Yeah, so Congressional District 4 has over 50, it's comprised of over 50,000 square miles throughout the district. We have over 80% of our land is publicly managed between the Bureau of Land Management, Wildlife, and Forest Service. And so for rural communities throughout Nevada, they really can't grow or develop or have economic development without that partnership with those federal agencies. So it was very important for me, again, to have this opportunity to serve my constituents by being their representative on the Natural Resources Committee, since we do have one of the biggest areas in our congressional district that's federally managed land.
You know, just I guess inside baseball here on the Hill, but it is interesting. You know, members of Ways and Means aren't allowed to serve on other committees, and then you got appointed to Budget because 5 Ways and Means members need to serve on it. But how did you get this third committee? And again, while you're answering that, why was it important to you to get on it?
So we had to request a waiver to the rules to allow us to be appointed to the committee. And the leadership and members of my caucus, the Democratic caucus, supported my effort because of the unique perspective of my district and the voice that I can bring to these issues. And this is not about me. It's not about what the future can bring. It's about what I can do on these committees to serve my constituents, whether it's addressing healthcare issues on Ways and Means, addressing the budget issue on the Budget Committee, or our national parks on natural resources. I'm proud to have sponsored and passed legislation to create the Tule Springs National Park designation last year. Obviously, we have the Gold Butte designation as well as Basin and Range. These are all historic treasures in Nevada that we want to protect. And my role on natural resources will allow us to do that for other areas throughout Nevada.
Yeah, you stole my thunder a little. I was going to mention how you'd been involved with Tule Springs and the Basin and Range National Monuments. So what are you prioritizing now in this Congress?
Well, we have a number of other public lands bills. Actually, we just passed the Eastern Nevada lands management bill that was part of the lands and water bill. It passed overwhelmingly out of the House and the Senate. It's on its way to the president's desk for final signature. And we're working with our local county commissioners. Actually, I met with about 14 county commissioners from throughout Nevada just the other day to talk about other lands priority bills this Congress.
What, in your opinion, is most needed regarding national and Nevada natural resources and other things under the jurisdiction of this committee?
It's really about partnership. We need the federal government and these federal agencies to understand they can't do anything without a true partnership with the state of Nevada and our local counties and municipalities. We want to bring economic development, but we want to balance that with conservation. And so I believe that we can have both economic development that helps grow the economy and create jobs while also preserving and protecting some of the most historic and culturally sensitive areas in Nevada.
That's a great thing to say because I've had your Republican friend, Mark Amade, good guy, on the show a lot about some of the same issues, and he gives almost that same statement saying the importance of that partnership and how you can balance one or the other. It's not necessarily, business versus environment versus, so.
We've shown the way in Nevada, and we need to continue to maintain that partnership for the future.
And when we return, his other priorities for Nevada. What does he plan to do for you here on the Hill? We're going to ask him right after this.
Planet Hollywood, Paris, Harrah's, Caesar's Palace. It's one of the most exciting skylines in the world, Las Vegas. Caesars Entertainment has nearly 50 casinos worldwide, including these. But no matter which casino you visit, we want you to play responsibly. And if you need help setting or keeping a limit, we hope you'll call this number. You see, we know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
I got my own iPod Touch and use my dad's login to get on gambling sites. Poker is the best, but I'm losing a lot. Since I'm too young to play, they're not allowed to keep the money and my dad won't find out. That's right, isn't it?
Are you studying tonight? We can meet up and study together. Just text me after. Okay. No!
There is no text, tweet, or call that's worth a life.
One pedestrian death is one too many.
Look up.
And look out for each other.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
And it is time for our closing segment of today's Eye on Washington. We've had as our guest today, Nevada U.S. Congressman Stephen Horsford. Congressman, you know, we've talked about some big things today, some real big important things that you have some say over, namely taxation, the federal budget, and things in and connected to the environment. But what are other priorities you have for this Congress you might want to share with our audience as we close?
Infrastructure and housing. As the role with Ways and Means, we'll be working in collaboration with the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. So with Congresswoman Titus's role on that committee, we will help to ensure we have the funding in place to pass it. And I'm looking forward to making sure that we do an infrastructure bill that creates jobs, addresses our critical infrastructure needs, and really positions us for the future. And housing in Southern Nevada in particular, we have some real housing challenges with affordability, homelessness, making sure that young people can still afford to attain their first home. And so these are issues that I look forward to bringing up and addressing as well.
Sounds like a busy time for you.
It's important for Nevada.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
And that does wrap up today's Eye on Washington. I hope you'll join us next time for another look at federal matters that matter most to you in Nevada. In the meantime, though, we are always here for you, providing all the federal news Nevadans need to know. Just go to our website, joycecommunications.com. And while you're there, check out all the federal issues that impact Nevada. You can like us on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, catch up with any shows you may have missed on our YouTube page. Thanks for joining us today on Eye on Washington. I'm Marilee Joyce in Washington, D.C. Have a great day.
Thank you for watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce airs statewide in Nevada solely due to the generosity of our sponsors. Can your company help us continue our mission to remain Nevada's top source of federal news? If you can help us help Nevadans, please visit joycecommunications.com/WordPress/EOW sponsors and join us today. That's joycecommunications.com/WordPress/EOW sponsors.